A goodbye can be quick, a wave at the door, a word at the end of a phone call, a message before someone leaves. Sometimes it means nothing more than, I'll see you later. Other times, it carries a weight that is hard to put into words. Goodbye can be casual. Goodbye can be painful. Goodbye can close a conversation, a visit, a job, a home, or an entire chapter of someone's life. But the word itself has a much older meaning hidden inside it. Because goodbye did not begin as just a polite way to leave. It began as a blessing. So why do we say goodbye? And how did a religious phrase slowly turn into one of the most common parting words in English? I'm Earl, the creator of Everyday Sayings and Origins. To keep each episode consistent, I use my digital likeness. Now, back to the story. Today, goodbye simply means someone is leaving. You can say it to a friend. You can say it to a stranger. You can say it at the end of a meeting, a phone call, a visit, or a message. Most of the time, we do not think about it. It is just the word that ends the moment. But goodbye has a deeper history than it seems. The word comes from an older phrase, God be with ye. In plain modern words, that means God be with you. It was a parting wish, a way of sending someone off with protection, care, and blessing. That already changes the feeling of the word. Goodbye was not just an exit, it was a hope, a small prayer at the edge of leaving. That makes sense when you think about how dangerous travel and separation once could be. Today, a goodbye might mean someone is driving across town, or walking to their car, or ending a video call. But in earlier times, leaving could be much more uncertain. A person might travel for days, weeks, or months. Roads could be dangerous. Illness could spread. Weather could change everything. Messages could be slow or impossible. When someone left, you might not know exactly when you would hear from them again. So parting words mattered. They were not just manners. They carried fear, affection, and hope. God be with you fit that moment. It placed the person leaving under protection. It said, in effect, I cannot go with you, but may God go with you. Over time, people did what people always do with common phrases. They shortened it. They blended the sounds. They said it quickly. God be with ye gradually shifted in everyday speech until it became something closer to goodbye. That is one of the most normal things in language. Words that people use often tend to shrink. Long phrases become short phrases. Short phrases become single words. The original meaning can still be there, but it becomes harder to hear. That is what happened with goodbye. The blessing stayed in the background while the word became ordinary. There is another small mystery inside the word. If the phrase began with God, why does the modern word start with good? That likely happened because people connected it with other parting phrases that already used the word good. Good morning, good day, good evening, good night. Those phrases were familiar. So, God be with ye may have been pulled toward the pattern of good greetings and farewells. The sound and spelling shifted until goodbye looked like it belonged in the same family. That is why the word can seem confusing at first. It looks like it means good plus bye, but the older root points back to God be with you. Language does that often. It reshapes words so they fit patterns people already know. The result can hide the original meaning. To a modern ear, goodbye sounds like a simple, polite word. But under the surface is the older wish for protection. That is why the word feels different from something like see you. See you looks forward to meeting again. Later is casual. Bye is quick. But goodbye can feel more final. Not always, but it can. There is a reason people use it in emotional moments. A final goodbye, a tearful goodbye, a long goodbye. The word has room for seriousness because it came from a serious place. It was built for the moment when someone leaves and you cannot fully control what happens next. That feeling has not disappeared. Even today, goodbye can carry uncertainty. When someone moves away, goodbye feels different. When someone leaves a job, goodbye feels different. When someone says goodbye at a hospital, an airport, or the end of a long relationship, the word becomes heavier. The old meaning may be hidden, but the shape of the word still fits the moment. A person is leaving. You care what happens next. You cannot go with them, so you send them off with words. That is what goodbye has always done. It stands at the edge between together and apart. It marks the place where one moment ends and another begins. That may be why people sometimes avoid saying it. They say, see you soon. They say, talk later. They say, until next time, because goodbye can sound too final. It can feel like closing a door. Even when we do not mean it that way, the word has weight. That weight comes from centuries of use at real moments of parting, but goodbye also has a lighter side. In everyday life, people say it constantly without much feeling. A cashier says goodbye. A coworker says goodbye. A voicemail says goodbye. A person ends a call with goodbye almost automatically. That is the strange life of common words. The same word can be almost empty in one moment and deeply emotional in another. It depends on the leaving. It depends on who is leaving. It depends on whether you expect to see them again. That flexibility helped goodbye survive. It can handle a small ending and a big ending. It can close a casual call or a life-changing departure. Very few words can do both. There is also a reason bye became common. Bye is the shortened form. It is quicker, lighter, easier to throw into casual speech. You can say bye while walking away, ending a call, or closing a conversation without making the moment feel heavy. That shorter version took some of the seriousness out of the word, but it did not erase the older form. We still have both. Bye for ordinary moments. Goodbye when the moment needs more shape. That difference matters. If a friend is leaving the room, bye works. If someone is leaving your life for a long time, goodbye may feel more honest. The longer word carries more emotional space. It slows the moment down. That may be why writers, speakers, and songwriters keep returning to it. Goodbye is not just a word for leaving. It is a word for change. It can mark the end of childhood, the end of a place, the end of a relationship, the end of a version of life that cannot continue in the same way. The word has become a container for all kinds of endings. That is a long journey for a phrase that began as a blessing, and it shows something important about language. Words can lose their original religious meaning in everyday use, but keep some emotional power. Many people who say goodbye today are not thinking, "God be with you." They may not mean anything religious at all, but the word still works because the human situation has not changed. People still leave, people still worry, people still hope the person leaving will be okay. That is the feeling the old phrase was built around. In a way, goodbye is a fossil of care, a piece of an older blessing preserved inside a modern habit. Most of the time, we pass over it quickly, but when the moment is serious, the old depth returns. That is why the word can catch in your throat, not because of spelling, not because of grammar, because leaving is human. And goodbye gives leaving a voice. There is also a quiet honesty in the word. A greeting opens a door. A goodbye admits that the door is closing, at least for now. That can be uncomfortable. People like beginnings. Endings are harder, but endings need words too. Without a goodbye, a departure can feel unfinished. The word gives shape to the ending. It says, "This moment is over." It says, "I noticed you leaving." It says, "What happened here mattered enough to close properly." That is why a missing goodbye can hurt. When someone leaves without saying it, the silence feels different. It can feel careless, cold, unfinished. A goodbye does not stop the leaving, but it honors the fact that leaving matters. That is a lot for one word to carry, but common words often carry more than we notice. Hello opens the line. Goodbye closes it. One says, "I am here." The other says, "I am going now." Between those two words, whole conversations, visits, and relationships happen. That may be why hello and goodbye feel like simple opposites, even though their histories are different. Hello grew into a greeting through calling, attention, and communication. Goodbye grew out of a blessing. One reaches toward contact, the other releases someone from it. Both words are ordinary now, but both came from real human needs. We need a way to begin, and we need a way to part. So why do we say goodbye? Because an older phrase, "God be with you," slowly changed over time. It began as a parting blessing, a wish that the person leaving would be protected after they were out of sight. The words shortened, the sounds shifted, the religious meaning faded for many speakers, but the words stayed, and even now, goodbye still carries the shape of its old purpose. It sends someone off, it closes the moment, it gives parting a voice. The next time you say goodbye, it may be quick, it may be casual. It may be nothing more than the end of a phone call, but hidden inside that everyday word is a much older wish. May you be safe, may you be watched over, may you be all right when we are no longer together. If you enjoyed discovering the story behind this everyday word, subscribe to Everyday Sayings and Origins. Each episode uncovers the hidden history behind the words, phrases, rhymes, and traditions we use without thinking. I'm Earl. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next origin. Peace.